It's a new year, Rising Queens. It's 2025. I hope you have enjoyed your holiday break and that you young ladies are ready to hit the ground running for the second half of the school year. We're continuing with the second part of this podcast topic on fake friends. But in this episode, I'm going to talk about what happens when we hang around people that pretend to be your friend, but are really your ops. There are a few classic, memorable sayings that my mom always used to tell me when I was a teen. One was, watch the company that you keep, or not everybody is your friend. A few other quotes in regard to fake friends are, make sure the lions you roll with aren't snakes in disguise. Fake friends are with you today and against you tomorrow. And sometimes it's not the person who changes, it's the mask that falls off. Sometimes we are not aware when we come into contact with fake people. We most likely take them at face value when meeting people for the first time. However, we should always steer clear of any red flags that these so called friends may show when dealing with them. If we don't catch the red flags early on, then we will end up hurt by those same people that we trusted and called our friend. Here is a story that I will tell involving a young girl who befriended two other girls in her class, only for those two girls to backstab her in the end. Tori, Renee, and Kelly became friends in the beginning of the school year. These three girls were the best of friends and were all straight A students. While Renee and Kelly played sports after school, Tori was a part of the school step team that I co coached along with the main coach. The three of them seemed inseparable, as if nothing could break the bond that they established together. However, all of that changed in the middle of the school year. Out of nowhere, Kelly and Renee flipped the script on Tori and began talking about her behind her back. They began to throw Tori into situations that she had no control over and that she did not start. On one occasion, Kelly and Tori got into an argument in Spanish class. Tori threw down her book bag as if she was about to fight Kelly, but their Spanish teacher sent them both to in school suspension. I remember Tori telling me how scared she was to be in school suspension because it was her very first time in there and that she had never been in that position before. I told Tori to hold on and that it would be okay. I mentioned that she might not have to spend the rest of the day in school suspension, depending on what the middle school administrator might say. When visiting the middle school administrator with Tori, I tried to advocate for her because of the situation that was going on between the girls. But the administrator intervened and sternly told Tori that because she threw down her book bag, it was a sign of starting a fight. Therefore, Tori had to spend the rest of the day in school suspension. The backstabbing became so much for Tori that it was starting to affect her grades and her participation on the step team. Tori and I had a conversation about it and told her that she needed to cut off all ties with Renee and Kelly. I don't remember the response that she gave me, but it did seem along the lines of her saying that it either was not that simple or her saying that she wanted to prove something to them in their friendship. But the icing on the cake was Renee and Kelly committing the ultimate backstabbing on Tori by creating a fake Instagram page of her and made negative posts about the other students in their class, pretending it was Tori making the post. The next day, in first period, some of the girls in social studies class aggressively approached Tori about the post she made on Instagram. Renee and Kelly also attacked Tori along with the girls. I quickly intervened, telling the girls to go back to their seats and warned them that they would get sent to in school suspension. But after that moment, the damage was beyond done, and after a month and a half later, Tori transferred to another school. I felt very sorry for her because she was a sweet, smart, goal oriented young lady, but she got thrown under the bus by two other girls that had ill intentions towards her. Dealing with people like Renee and Kelly can definitely take you far off your focus. They can tear down your spirit, they can diminish your self esteem, and they can take you out of your character. Tori started out as an ambitious, bright, and sweet young girl who prioritized her academics and responsibilities as a student. But once she befriended Kelly and Renee, things began to go downhill. As I have mentioned before, it is important to watch out for the red flags. Even though we may miss them at first, over time, we will begin to notice them in certain moments, like in arguments, or if you see a friend move in a funny manner towards you. There are many different red flags of a fake friend. However, I will mention five of them. One, they violate your boundaries. Boundaries are the guidelines that determine what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in any kind of relationship. Even though you are friends with someone, it is still important for your friend to respect your boundaries. To violate those boundaries is a lack of respect in the friendship. It also shows that your friend does not respect you. An example of this would be your friend going through your personal belongings in your room without your permission, or asking you very personal questions that you are uncomfortable answering. It's okay to let your friend know that she or he has crossed a personal line in the friendship. How your friend responds to it will tell you how much she or he respects you and the friendship. Two, they are secretly jealous of you or in competition with you. There was a girl that I felt had some secret animosity towards me, but it was always hard to tell. However, it was the slight things that she did that made me question her character. I felt like she was always trying to compete with me. For instance, she challenged me to a model walk off in the cafeteria because she always noticed the way I walked. She mentioned that I walked like a model and wanted to see if she could out model walk me, if that makes sense. But after we did the walk off, some of the girls watching chose me as the winner, and she gave a look and went back to her seat. There were also some other times she made slick remarks towards me, but would cover it as a joke. But I knew she meant what she said. Other signs that a friend can be jealous of you is by giving you backhanded compliments, having a lack of genuine excitement when you have good news, imitating your style or interests, not spending as much time with you when you are doing well, and talking behind your back or spreading rumors. If you are experiencing these situations with a friend, please remove yourself from that person. Three, you can't be yourself around them and you have to walk on eggshells. One of the most important and major components of any type of relationship is the freedom to be yourself without judgment and without limits. To be yourself around someone means that you feel comfortable and safe around that person. There are times when you have to consider what you may say or do because it might offend your friend. However, when it comes to a point where every little thing that you say or do will offend someone, even if there was no offense to it, then that is when you have to be leery about the friendship itself and the person you are friends with. Even when your intentions are nothing but pure and your friend still finds an issue with it. To be around someone who is constantly on edge and takes every little thing too serious can affect your mood, make you feel nervous and unsafe, and most importantly, can limit your freedom of being you. I felt like this one time with a friend and told that friend how I felt about walking on eggshells. The response given to me was that it was my issue because he had nothing to do with it. His response was very dismissive and did not care to further discuss it. Long story short, that friend and I have parted ways. When someone makes you feel like you can't be yourself and you have to walk on eggshells, do not hesitate to cut them off, especially when that friend sees no error or awareness in the way he or she makes you feel. 4, they manipulate you. Here are some examples of being manipulated by a friend: playing the victim, guilt tripping you, giving you the silent treatment, blaming you for their issues, threatening you to get what they want. If you have experienced or are currently experiencing these tactics, immediately separate yourself from that person. And 5, they gaslight you. Gaslighting is when someone denies or downplays your thoughts and feelings. The objective is to make you question your reality and perceptions of situations. Someone who gaslights you wants you to second guess yourself and confuse you. This can look like being in denial of certain events or conversations that have happened, making your feelings and needs unimportant. The person can criticize you or switch between behaviors and characteristics, such as going from charming to anger. These kind of hot and cold individuals are definitely people you do not want to be friends with. Having a close, trustworthy, and honest friendship is a beautiful thing to have, especially when it is with another individual who shares similar values as you. There are times when friendships can have its downsides and ugly moments. Just like any relationship that you have, there are ups and downs. But when there are more downs than ups in your friendship, you need to consider if this is a friendship that you want to continue with. If you are having a lot of problems with a friend and there are no solutions, just more problems on top of the ones that you already have with that friend, it is evident that that person needs to exit out of your life. Being friends with someone who does not have your best interest at heart can drain you mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, even spiritually. In this new year, it is time to make decisions that will better help you in the end. If you have not already, this is now the time where you need to surround yourself with people who support you, who have good intentions towards you, and that do not see you as their competition, but as their equal. This is a year to establish healthy friendships. Remain aware of those red flags. And if you identify them in the friendship, do not be afraid to tell that person that he or she has to exit stage left out of your life. It may sound harsh to cut off a friend, but you have to consider what matters the most to you. Is it your peace, your health, dignity, and character, or giving chance after chance to someone who will keep hurting you? Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope that these gems given to you were helpful and that you are able to apply them in your own teenage journey. Please like, share, and comment on this episode. Follow me on Instagram at precious_gems podcast, Facebook at Precious Gems for the Rising Queen podcast, Snapchat at Precious Gems. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Precious Gems Podcast. Let this new year start off on the right way for you. But even if it doesn't, you still have many chances to correct it. Talika Kumi.